Okay, so hello everyone, good afternoon. I hope everyone is doing good. So before we start the session, yesterday we have started the topic related to the defense technology and we have taken the part 1 yesterday. And as part of the discussion, we would be continuing today. And today we would be focusing on the most recent technologies that we have brought, especially in the defense technology. So that is what the primary thing that we will be doing today. So as I said you in the last session, we have focused on the core concepts related to the missiles and all. So we'll start with some concepts related to the missiles today, but we'll go to the advanced thing. We'll go to the advanced thing about the recent development that we have brought under the defense technology. So we'll be going on with respect to those particular things. And if you have any issues, you could tell me in the comment section. I'll be definitely looking at them also. Right? So before we start, guys, I just would like to let you all know, if you have installed the Unacademy Learning App, that's well and good. You could join various sessions, special classes, tests, whatnot, all the things. But if you don't, please do install the Unacademy Learning App. And you have an Unacademy subscription too, where you could be getting live classes, you'll be getting poll, leaderboard, you'll be having doubt clearing sessions, and live interaction will be taken. And apart from that, you'll be having Iconic subscription, where you would be allotted a personal coach who would be guiding you in the entire preparation. So that is something which would be taken. And what you could do is just use a referral code which is highlighted here, that is Ajay MYT10, so that you would be able to subscribe for that, and you would be going forward for the new people who are joining the Unacademy by joining the learning app. For getting any of these things, you could use a referral code, which is for a kind of unlock code for getting the benefits of all the free things that you get, be it the special classes, be it the test, and whatever thing is. So Unacademy aspirant test would be conducted. So yesterday we have started the defense technology, and today there is an interesting feature you have. There is an interesting thing I will be announcing to you. So exactly at 2:30, we would be taking a temporary pause in the session. We will be here in the live, but one thing that we'll be doing here in the session is that we will be taking a quiz on the recent technologies in the science and technology. So that would be 10 questions would be there for 10 minutes. You would be joining me in the quiz, and then we'll be continuing this back. Okay, that is the most interesting thing to make the sessions more interactive. We have come across with this kind of initiative. I hope you would be joining this. So let's start. So yesterday we have taken all these particular areas, right? I'll just go ahead 1 second. So we've taken all these areas. We have discussed about the different missiles. We have talked about all them. Then I think we have discussed the ballistic missiles yesterday, Prithvi 1, 2, 3. We have talked about submarine launched ballistic missiles. We have talked about Sagarika. We have talked about Shaurya. We have looked into Nirbhay. Then we have seen Dhanush, right? So we'll be going on with the Agni 1, 2, 3. So today our topic we'll be starting is with respect to Agni. So Agni is also a short range solid propulsion ballistic missile, where it will go up to a range of 700 kilometers. And if you could reduce the payload of Agni, where that could go up to 1200 kilometers too. And this is one of the very important missile for us, because it is the one which is filling up the gap that we have between the short range and the medium range. This is something which is doing. It has a shorter range, but it is it can take very heavier payload than that of Agni 2. So that is about the Agni 1. So coming to the Agni 2, Agni 2 is a 2-stage medium range solid propulsion, where it has a maximum range of 2000 kilometers and a minimum range of 500 kilometers. If you are able to reduce the payload of this, so it is expected that it could go up to 3500 kilometers. You can imagine how far it could reach. So right now Agni 2 is completely integrated into the army units. This is what we know about Agni. So Agni 3, so it is again it is also an intermediate range 2-stage solid propulsion ballistic missile. Compared to Agni 1 and 2, it is a bit shorter, and it could take a very, very heavy payload, where the range could be anywhere from 3000 to 5000 kilometers, and the maximum payload this can take is up to 2000 kg. So this is just a comparison of the missiles. Then we have Agni 4. It is also a 2-stage missile solid propulsion, where it has a launch weight of 17,000 kgs. So this is something which would play a very, very important role when it comes to the entire nuclear arsenal of the country, and it has an operational range of 4000 kilometers. If you can do it very well, we can hit the target from anywhere in the North India. If you can do it, we could hit the target almost nearly all of the China, including that of the biggest cities like Shanghai and Beijing also could be attacked very well if you are launching this from the northern part of the country. So that is about Agni 4. But here comes the most powerful, in fact, Agni 5. This Agni 5 is a very unique, very different from what we have seen about Agni 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is a part of intercontinental ballistic missile, which would be a 3-stage solid fueled missile. And the first test of Agni 5 has made it very, very easy, and it has made it very clear that India would be playing a very, very important role when it comes to the ballistic missiles and its expansive range. It has a weight of 50 tons, where it can go up to a range of 5,000 kilometers and can take a warhead of 1360 kg. And it is a 3-staged one. Unlike the Agnis, other Agnis, it is a 3-staged one. It can take 1.5 ton warhead, and it has been integrated with us. But what is the difference between the other 4 Agnis and this? The most important thing is this. This would be carrying a MIRV, that is multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle. What does it mean now? So this is one certain kind of payload where it has 3 different kind of stages. It can take 3 different payloads, and these 3 could hit 3 different targets. That is a very, very unique thing of it. But when it comes to this particular scenario, it is one of the most powerful thing that we have when it comes to the Agni missiles. So it could be like it has been making a great change, and definitely that is something which we should be proud of. So this is a very, very common thing about the ballistic missiles and all. But here comes a very interesting thing. India, when you talk about India and United States of America, one thing you must have understood between both of them, India and United States of America, that whatever US has said, in many cases, India went on to do that. But there are certain situations, India said no. For example, in the matter of Iran, India said, whatever US said, India said okay. Be it in the matter of any kind of thing, oil trade with respect to, when it comes to the South American countries. So we have been listening to what United States of America is mentioning. But there is one instance which India said no. It said we don't care about it. So what is it? The deal of S-400. So today we would try to understand what exactly is this S-400 deal, what benefit can it do, and why is India that much interested in the S-400 thing. So it is one certain kind of thing which could actually act as a kind of a shield where we don't be attacked by any ballistic missile. So S-400 missile system, which is also called as Triumph missile system, it is considered by NATO as SA-21 Growler, and it is the world's dangerous and most powerful weapon. In fact, it is a surface to air missile system. I said you yesterday about different kind of missile systems we have. It is a surface to air missile system, and it is considered as most powerful than that of THAAD. THAAD is of United States of America. It is considered as more powerful than that of THAAD, which is nothing but Terminal High Altitude Air Missile System. Altitude Area Defense System. It is more powerful than THAAD. What is the importance? Why is it that powerful? When you look into this particular case, it has a multifunction radar. It has autonomous detection and the targeting systems. It also has anti-aircraft missile systems. If there is any kind of missile is coming up, it can deal with that. It has its own launchers, and it has a command and control center also. It can be deployed within 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes it could be deployed, and it is capable of firing 3 different kind of missiles. So whereas when it is firing, it could actually create a kind of 3-layered security for us. That is the importance of it. Now it can deal with the targets that are coming from the aircrafts, be it unmanned aerial vehicles, It can deal with the ballistic missiles. It could deal with the cruise missiles within a range of 400 kilometers and an altitude of 30 kilometers. Within a range of 400 kilometers and altitude of 30 kilometers, it could deal with that. And the most important feature of this is that at a time it can track 100 different kind of targets. 100 different kind of targets equal to, like you could say 100 F-35s could be identified at a time. It can track 100 at a time and 6 of them could be attacked at each time. At a time it can attack 6 of them in a single instance. And this S-400 was made operational in 2007 by Russia, and it is very, very important in protecting the entire city of Moscow. It was also deployed in Syria in 2015, especially to guard Russian and Syrian naval and air assets. And there have been units of these particular things have also been stationed in Crimean Peninsula too. But the most important thing is, why do we need it? That we said no to US and we were focusing on that. Is it that important for us? Why do we need it? When it comes to this particular case, it is important for us because we have two hostile neighbors. On one side we have Pakistan, other side we have China. Both of them have nuclear weapons. So it is very important we have to protect us from themselves. Right? So that's the reason why. That is one of the reasons. And the second reason is this. China has already signed a deal with Russia in 2015 to buy 6 battalions of S-400 missile system, and the delivery has been started in 2018. So as the Chinese have taken them, it is definitely going to be a game changer for us, because we have a very, very limited range. We also have to look after that, and that is the reason why this S-400 is going to be a very, very important thing in case if there is a two-front war is coming up. That is, if on one side if China, other side if Pakistan is attacking, S-400 would be a very, very, very important thing for us to prevent many of these attacks too. In 2015, the Defence Acquisition Council of India has considered that we should buy 12 of them, but later on we changed it to just 5. Turkey and Saudi Arabia are also those nations which are negotiating for the same S-400 missile system. Iraq and Qatar also are very much interested in getting these particular things. But now the point is, like, if it is a deal between two countries, India and Russia, then why is this US coming in between? The most important reason is this. In 2017, the President of United States of America has signed an act called as CATSA. That is nothing but Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act. So what is the importance of it? They want to counter the enemies of America. But how are they going to counter? They are going to do that by imposing sanctions on them. That is the major reason of that. The major reason why they are going to do is this. They want to counter the America's enemies by imposing sanctions. And who are there in these sanctions? This sanctions would consist of Russia, Iran, North Korea. And in the same act, it also says that they want to punish Russia for its military intervention in Ukraine and also for their meddling in the US elections in 2016. And also, how they want to do it? They want to aim oil and gas industry, defense and security sector, and financial institutions also. So what is that US President could do now? The section 231 of the CATSA makes it very clear that the President of United States of America can impose about 5 of 12 listed sanctions on those people who are engaged in any kind of transaction with the Russian defense as well as intelligence sectors. So accordingly, the US State Department has notified 39 Russian entities. They have notified 39 Russian entities who have some significant transactions with these particular things. Almost all the major Russian companies which are actually dealing with the S-400 system have been listed under this. Now that is a problem. So CATSA also says that, like, whenever we have a countries like United States of America, like, it is saying no, we have to say no. But the point is, we cannot compromise on our national interest. For us, our national interest is primary, isn't it? So the CATSA will also impact in relations of US with that of India. When they are looking after India as a key partner in the Indo-Pacific strategy, if that goes against India, that would be a huge loss for the United States of America. So that's the reason the Secretary of Defense of the United States has mentioned to the members of a Senate committee that we have to give some kind of exemptions to countries like India. And they also said this is a strategic opportunity that India should have, and yes, we should allow them to have that. But the point is, when you look at the deals that India is doing for the last few years with respect to US, they have been really an amazing deals. They have given a lot from the defense, from zero to some billions of dollars of trade. So definitely US has been looking after that, and US would accept India's request for Sea Guardian drones. American manufacturers are also looking into this. So this is a very, very common thing. So they would definitely look into this and give some kind of benefit for us. That is something which we could mention. Okay. So that is about this topic. So now guys, we have a topic called scramjet engine. Right after the scramjet engine, we should be ready for the quiz. Okay. So there would be a quiz that would be conducted on an Academy Learning app, as I already have updated you about this. So you should be ready for that. Okay. That would be just consisting of 10 questions, nothing more. Okay, you don't have to worry about that. So what is this scramjet engine now? Generally, imagine guys, you people are running on a road. Okay, imagine that you people are running on a road. A huge wind is coming. It would force you not to go. Like you would get a kind of resistance. Am I right? It is something you would be getting. You would getting a kind of resistance. So the DRDO has now done a very important thing here. So the resistance is in that way, it will not let you go any further. Am I right? That is a very common thing. But just when you are running, you are facing that. What about these rockets and missiles which we are launching? When they are going at such a great speed, won't they get any resistance? They get the resistance here also. But what would happen here is this. The air would be like, teared apart in one way. That's why if you could look into the shape of this, this particular engines and all, they are like a cone shape so that they could actually take away this. And even if you look at the bikes and all also, the sports bikes and any other different kind of bikes, if you are seeing, they actually are plain this way, like, a kind of a cone shape, or like, a cone shape will be there, a slope. So that it would actually prevent the air. So there is a science involved in that also. Now when it comes to this, DRDO has successfully done a great technological thing on 7th of September, where they've actually let a cruise vehicle at a hypersonic speed of Mach 6 for 20 seconds. So the DRDO has called this as a hypersonic technology demonstrator vehicle. Hypersonic technology demonstrator vehicle. So what would happen? You don't have to read all these things. I'll just tell you in brief. Okay, I'll just tell you in brief. 1 second. So what happens here is this here. When you have a kind of a plane going on this way. Okay, when you have a kind of plane going on this way, so it would actually get some kind of air resistance, right? Air resistance would be there, so that would actually slow down this. But this is a kind of scenario. What happens, that would actually cut the air, and the air which is there, that would be allowed inside this particular engine. The air will be allowed inside this engine. When something is going on inside the engine now, you also have to look into this particular case here. 1 second. So when this is actually there, so you know very well that the fuel to be burnt, you need the oxygen, right? So when the air is actually being teared apart, the air would be like, entering into the engine of that particular rocket. This is the engine, for example, that would be entered into this particular rocket, and that would be going to the fuel combustion. So now what happened? The air which has till now opposed the movement of it, so now that would be going inside, and that would be mixed with the fuel, and it would giving you like more speed, where the speed which is there is basically could be supersonic or subsonic. So this speed would be increased at a greater pace by letting it go at a very faster speed. So where it would be converting that supersonic to a hypersonic. The air which has prevented them from going further will now be helping it to go at a much greater speed. That is the most important thing which has been successfully done by India to attain a speed of 6 Mach very well. This is completely an indigenous technology. So definitely this is going to be a very important thing for the country. So this kind of technologies have been used very well. So we have taken the ethylene fuel and we have got maximum energy from the engine and all. So we have done that. So here they successfully have launched all these particular things. And when the launch has reached an altitude of 30 kilometers, see the air intake ducts will be opened. So before that actually will go. At 30 kilometers altitude, the cone will split into two and fall off. And then the heat shield which is present, so that would be allowing them. So the air which is present in the entire atmosphere, it will be entering into the scramjet engine combustion chamber at a supersonic speed. The air which is entering will be at a supersonic speed, and after that the air will be mixed with the fuel. The air will be mixed with the fuel and this fuel will be ignited. So then that would make the scramjet engine to do much more. In that way we have done that for next 20 seconds at a hypersonic speed. That is a speed of 6 Mach which we have successfully done that, and this is an indigenous thing. Definitely the people involved in this, be it the DRDO, be it the project directors, be it the director generals of the DRDO, and even the chairperson of DRDO has been very much happy with respect to it. And this has been successfully done with the support of the DRDL of Hyderabad, Research Center Imarat which is there in Hyderabad, the Advanced Science Systems Laboratory. All these institutions have been involved in this. So in that way they have been able to do this very successfully. So that is the importance of this. Okay, that is the importance of it. So guys, I said you that there will be a quiz will be there right now, and uske baad we will be continuing with the remaining topics. So the quiz would be held exactly at 2:30. Exactly at 2:30. So what are you supposed to do is open the Unacademy learning app, and once in that you would be having an option called tests. Okay, so in the test, once you get the option, you have to click on join quiz. You have to click on join quiz and use the code. This is highlighted here. So please do that. I'll be starting the quiz exactly in 2 minutes. I mean like in 3 minutes. Exactly at 2:30 we'll be starting the quiz. There'll be only 10 questions. Right after that we'll be back again with the remaining topics. We'll talk about smart test. Then we'll talk about the Rudram. So we will be talking about remaining topics also. Okay. So please join the quiz as soon as possible. We'll be starting exactly at 2:30. Then we'll be again resuming the session here. Okay, I'll be here in the live, by the way. The quiz has been started. So there's a question that we have discussed. It is directly given. So we are left with last 5 questions in the quiz. Then we'll be resuming the session here. Okay. Hello, Abhishek. Very good. Okay, Mosaic mission recently in the news is related to. Yes. So almost last three questions and then we'll be resuming the session here. Last three questions we have in the quiz. Okay. Right. Very good. Okay. So last two questions are going on, and right, it's a question number 9 that's on the page right now. It's asking you about what does it call Meissner effect. Meissner effect is associated with. The options are superconductivity, artificial intelligence, near Earth objects, or space debris. And we'll go with the last question of the day. Last question in the quiz. Then we'll be resuming the session here. So that's the end of the quiz. We will be resuming the session here now. Right. So we have Manish, who is the topper of that particular quiz. So now we are here back with respect to the resuming of a session now. So yeah, some time ago we have discussed about these particular things about like we have seen about the HDSTV, we have talked about the Agni 5 missile, and we have looked into this. So now we'll move on to the next one, that is called as the SMART test. So the SMART here stands for Supersonic Missile Assisted Release of Torpedo System. In simple language, if you want me to discuss that, I would tell you in this way. Wait a second. So in general, we know very well that if you have a submarine, the submarines often fires what is it called? A torpedo. So when a torpedo is launched by the submarine, the range it could go is not that much, and the speed also it won't be that much, isn't it? So with the SMART test, what did we do? This torpedo would be attached to a missile. Okay, so this missile would help the torpedo to go at a greater speed, and when the target is near, the torpedo would be released from the missile. That is a simple thing. Okay, so it is a kind of launch where the torpedo would be placed in association with the support of missile. That's why we call it as supersonic missile assisted. So a missile which is of a supersonic speed will be assisting the torpedo, and that will be going and hitting the causing some destruction. So torpedoes are basically used underwater to hit a target because of they have a very limited range. So the DRDO wanted to do this thing for the very long, and finally they were able to do it successfully. So this is what that is happened very clearly. That is in simple way. Then we have the K missile family of India. So we know very well that India has been trying its best to become a nuclear triad. In fact, we should be able to have a capability where we will be able to fire the nuclear weapons from any of these, be it land, be it air, or be it sea. Now, a successful trial of this Shaurya missile was recently conducted by India, and Shaurya is a land-based parallel equal to submarine launched K-15 missile. So these are named after K family. K here indicates, it is named after the former president of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So the K family are basically the submarine launched ballistic missiles which have been indigenously developed by the DRDO. And the very important thing is, this development has been started long ago in 1990s, where we want to achieve a nuclear triad, where India should have a nuclear weapons capability, the launch of nuclear weapons capability, be it from land, be it from sea, or be it from air. And these missiles are to be launched from submarines. So submarines cannot carry heavy weights, so they have to be very light, they have to be smaller, and they have to be very stealthier compared to that of the missiles which are launched from the land. So Agni missiles, as we know, are the medium and intercontinental range missiles. But these K family are the submarine fired missiles which would be fired from the Arihant class submarines. The land as well as air variants also have been developed by DRDO. So Shaurya is basically a land variant of this K-15 Sagarika, which has a range of about 750 kilometers. India has developed as well as successfully tested the K-4 missiles with different kind of ranges, even for a range of 3,500 kilometers also. So K4, and then you have K5 and K6 with a range of 5,000 and 6,000 kilometers. So this is what the range is development. So we also have been focusing on many other kind of things. But what is the importance of submarine launched ballistic missiles? See, the very important point you have to know is that if the country is under threat from any other nation, there is a greater chance that the weapon, the arms and everything could be destructed because of the other country, because of the adversary. So this capability, where we would be having the capability of launching the nuclear weapons right from the submarines, would be very, very important for us here, because we would be attacking them without even identifying so easily. And we know very well it doesn't make India an aggressive nation, by the way, because India follows a clear principle of no first use policy, which says I would never use the nuclear weapons for the first. Whatever India do is something which we do as a retaliation only. And India also made a promise very clearly, we would never use nuclear weapons against a nation which doesn't have nuclear weapons too. So these submarines cannot survive just a first strike, because so it is very, very important, like if submarine is attacked, so there is a greater chance that it will be impacted too. So we have developed different kind of submarines and all. So successfully we have done this particular testing too. So that is about it. And lastly, we have one missile called India's first indigenous anti-radiation missile. So what is this anti-radiation missile now? In general, when a missile is launched, it would be detected by the radar, according to our class yesterday we have discussed. So this missile, India has developed anti-radiation missile called Rudram, and it has been successfully test fired. So what is this particular missile? It is an anti-radiation missile. What does it indicate by saying it's anti-radiation? There is a greater chance it is not that easily detected by the enemies. Why is that so? Because their purpose is that they will focus on hitting them first. The anti-radiation missiles are designed in that way. First, they track and neutralize the radar and communication systems. Where do you have a radar? Where do you have communication systems? So they would focus on that and they would destruct that. That is the primary purpose. The anti-radiation missiles would do that. Then it has a radiation tracking system as well as a guidance system. So this has already undergone some kind of preliminary test by the Indian Air Force too. So we already have seen how India has successfully done the SMART test, that is supersonic missile assisted release of torpedo, the hypersonic technology demonstrator vehicle. So this is going to be like another kind of thing, a great opportunity and a great indigenous capability that India is building with the support of DRDO too. So these things would help us a lot in the internal navigation too. So with the support of GPS, they could make really great job, and they have a very, very important thing. So these are the things which could hit the targets and could do a greater good for all of us. So that is all about this particular things. That's it. Okay. So that would be for the day here. So we would be meeting you in the very soon in the next upcoming sessions. I'll be updating you about that. Thank you so much, everyone. And before we go any further, I just would like to show you this once again. Right, so do have a look at this, and if anyone is subscribing for the Unacademy Plus, you could use this code, and also you could use this code for unlocking the special classes or tests that are being conducted by Unacademy for everyone at free of cost. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and bye-bye.